Welcome back, Red Spotters. I'm your host here, Alexis J. Soto. Back here on the podcast that covers everything coming out of the world of movies as far as reviews. And we have some reviews here today, and that is Malignant, the latest film from James Wan, currently in theaters, which no one is going to go see, and on HBO Max for a couple more weeks, as well as the recent Fear Street trilogy that was dropped on Netflix a couple months back already. Can you believe it? And now, finally, we're here, ready to discuss, alongside some other things that we have left to say here on Red Spotlight number 348. Peter, let's go ahead and start off with something that is the most pressing thing in the world. Mm-hmm. You're watching Ted Lasso now?
Oh, man. I succumb to peer pressure. I watched the first season of Ted Lasso.
Already?
Yeah.
Damn.
It's in the bucket. So I guess it's all downhill from here. If the discourse is to be believed.
Right. It shouldn't, because it's full of shit. Oh, well, that's not my bias in there, but I you should know that there has been there has been a backlash to the pushback.
A backlash to the backlash?
Yep. Absolutely. So it's evolved since then. And of course, we should note that since that initial discourse was unleashed back when season 2 was dropped, or at least the first couple of episodes, because it's still airing right now. It's not going to finish until episode 12. There's 12 episodes this season, so I assume sometime in October it'll be finished. And then that'll be it. But along the way, it happened to win a lot of Emmys. This past week, the Emmy Awards were broadcast. It was the new It Girl. It definitely was. It won Best Supporting Actress for a comedy series with Hannah Waddingham, who plays Rebecca. Won Best Supporting Actor for Brett Goldstein, who plays fucking Roy Kent. And also won Best Leading Actor for Jason Sudeikis. And of course, it also won Best Comedy Series. Something I did not know before, getting versed in all this Emmyology, if you want to call it, is that Sudeikis very much is not just, of course, the person in front of the face of the show, but he also happens to be a key writer and creator for the series. And if you think about it, which I did not know this beforehand, a lot of this was very much inspired by the fact that his wife left him. Go figure, for a One Direction member, Harry Styles.
You know what?
No, serious.
That's true. I was thinking, I actually thought about that during this, because he literally got divorced recently. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Okay, no, that would take us in another direction. Never mind, go ahead.
What direction? One Direction?
In one direction that I don't care to get into, so go ahead.
Yeah, but hey, look, nothing like using your own life experience to, get you on a project, and look, it already won about the biggest award there is in television off the bat. That's as high as it can go. Congratulations, and also congratulations to Apple TV Plus that actually has something on its streaming service that people like. For a change. That's about the only thing on there.
That's how streaming services survive.
Mm-hmm.
Original shows, sometimes movies, but mostly shows that they're like, oh my god, you have to watch it. That's what sells subscriptions, I think.
And hilariously, even though it was by mere seconds, or actually mere minutes, Apple TV Plus beat Netflix to win the big award, whether it be the three big awards, which would be Best Limited Series, Best Comedy Series, or Best Drama Series. And Apple TV Plus, which is not even, I think, 2 years old at this, maybe a little like 2 years old, it won one of the big prizes. Before then, Netflix won the other two with Queen's Gambit and The Crown. So, And for all of these years, we've been talking about how Netflix has been trying so hard to get one of those, either here at the Emmys or at the Oscars, the best picture, the best television series. And after how many years? Since 2013, when they first dropped their original programming with House of Cards and Orange is the New Black, Netflix finally won with Queen Elizabeth in tow. The Crown, which, if you remember, I know you didn't listen to it, nor do you want to watch it, although of course you seem to really be interested by the Harry and Meghan interview earlier this year. Alexis Moreno and I did review the 4 seasons of The Crown. And we raved about it endlessly, and it literally swept. It was a historic swept. It won all 4 acting categories, the 2 directing and writing, and then of course series. There was one surprise though. It's hilarious how people keep underestimating Olivia Colman, because everyone thought that Emma Corrin, who played Diana, Princess Diana in the series, is going to win this one, and Olivia Colman ended up upsetting again, which is hilarious because when she won her Oscar for The Favorite, no one was predicting that to happen. It was, I think, Glenn Close for The Wife.
She upset.
So Olivia Colman is very popular, and she's also very good in everything she's in.
Yeah. So that's a double whammy right there.
Absolutely. So I don't know. For me, it's like it was a telecast, but more importantly, so it was a night where I actually get to feel good about myself and the things that I like as they're finally awarded and everything. So that's
you feel validated?
Absolutely. Now, Peter,
now on to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. news.
Oh, we will. Don't worry. We will get to that. We have that right now. Was there any doubt? Come on. We're going to talk about that.
I just need to piss on your grave. Okay, go ahead.
Well, it's not really a grave. I'm not taking it that way.
Ditch.
But it was hilarious. Ted Lasso. What are your initial thoughts?
It's cute. I can see why everyone really, really likes it.
It's wholesome.
It's very wholesome. All the characters. It's good acting. I really, really... It's very nice television. For whatever reason, I thought it was like this like laugh out loud like hit comedy.
No.
There is good comedy in there.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of funny stuff that happens. But it's not like laugh a minute type thing. It's more about like these characters and, you know, their wholesome adventures and sort of their struggles. It's more of that kind of stuff.
Would you say it fits more in the dramedy realm?
Yes. I would.
The dramedy where it's not quite a drama, not quite a comedy, but somewhere in between.
But drama implies, I don't know, it being darker.
Well, sure, in some projects, but I mean, there is legitimate, like, well, I guess... Drama is a big word, and it's also a big tent, right? Like it can be. I think usually a lot of people really put drama as well. It's not funny, so I guess that must mean it's like drama. So yeah, I guess it's. I mean, it's not a okay. That gets into a whole other thing. But yeah, no, I love the series. I think recently when David and I did our favorite, our list of our top 10 favorite TV shows of 2020, because by the way, we actually got to that, whereas the movies, I don't know when the fuck that's going to happen. That's not on me any longer. And I've been saying for months on here, it's Kyle's fault, and guess what? He doesn't bring it up. And so I guess he's just stalling for time, or he's just planning to not do it, which is pretty harmful for somebody who is the head of this, I don't know, podcast network to not care about that. But that's okay. We'll just move on without it. But anyway, we did the top 10, David and I, TV shows. And actually, like, it's because I rewatched season 1 before I watched season 2, and it's really moved up ahead. Like for me, it's a show right up my alley. It completely stole my heart, and there's just a wonderful just kindness to it that I feel like a lot of people just miss. Like this is a character that very much comes out of left field because we're in a very cynical environment, and at every turn he just proves them wrong, by just being kind, and that's just kind of what I'm all about. And so I love that. Oof. And what?
That's what you're all about?
Yeah.
Being kind.
Yes, I'm being kind.
Okay.
Being kind is not the same thing as being nice. And I think Roy Kent perfectly encapsulates that. So I'm just going to put that out there. Now, the second thing is, whereas where it fell on the list, it actually came in a lot higher than I thought it would. It actually came in higher than Schitt's Creek, which, and you know me, I love Schitt's Creek.
Yes.
It came in at third for me. I love Ted Lasso. Love this show. Yeah. I even, I told you I bought the
Believe.
It's interesting. I actually on eBay I acquired like for your consideration merchandise for both The Crown and for Ted Lasso. Which one? So it actually is a valuable one, I guess. So there's that.
So you have to every time you want your pick to win, you gotta invest. Yeah.
Well, I also have here's a One of the promo ads here is a letter from the desk of Ted Lasso on here. So
I believe in miracles and vacation days. Only one is a hit song, but they both matter. Yeah, that sounds like dumbass shit he would say.
Yep. So there is that. Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear you enjoyed it, and I'm actually surprised you came under peer pressure to actually watch it. At least it works on you and not Kyle.
Well, the difference is I want to enjoy life.
Sure.
And I think the people that deny themselves something that they know is most likely going to provide them with enjoyment is simply
Speaking of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you're right, yeah.
Something else. Simply because it's like too popular or too many people are recommending. Like, that's so ridiculous.
Oh, I've always hated that mentality. I can't really begin to tell you how much I've hated the fact that there are this contingent of people out there that because it's mainstream and because it's popular, they'll just avoid it entirely.
And it's like, okay, I mean, I to me, I think it's annoying and stupid. But I guess my thing is like, it's your loss. Okay, fine. Like,
yeah,
go through your life just ignoring all kinds of things that you would probably enjoy just because it's popular. Like, I don't know. That's such a weird.
Like, why do you think there was a backlash to
mindset.
Ted Lasso earlier in the season? Because it was popular. Because it was very popular.
Yeah, but I guess what happens is it'll get popular and then people take it too far, like one step too far with like
Sure.
Ted Lasso will save us all. And then people come in and like fuck the show. Like the second that one or two people take it a little too far, like people lose their shit.
Well, then they take it far in the other direction.
Yeah.
There was an article that said Ted Lasso won't save us all. That's a direct rebuttal to that one. So it's like, well, you know how the media is, particularly the press on the entertainment circuit. They're just looking for things to write about.
It's all about the most crazy ass headline you can come up with to create what's it called? Clicks and discussion.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of the discussion happens to be stupid. Like, why is it the fact that James Gunn and Denis Villeneuve keep getting asked the same fucking question about how Martin Scorsese feels about Marvel movies, when it completely sidesteps the actual substance of Martin Scorsese's comments, which I believe, if you listen to last week's podcast of the Shang-Chi box office results, that pretty much was what Scorsese was saying the entire time. What would happen if like Marvel movies became too successful? What would get pushed out? Mid-budget films, which are now being put off to streaming, Hulu, Netflix, or what have you. So it would be one thing if we can have an actual discussion on the substance, but it never is that. Instead, it's just Denis Villeneuve says Marvel movies are for zombies out of context, and then people get pissed off.
Yeah. No, happens every time.
So there's that. Moving on to other stuff. So you mentioned Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Mr. Martinez. Interestingly enough, that you dropped it before I did. Oh,
yeah.
Interesting stuff. So the news happens to be that just before we got on the air, Chloe Bennett apparently was pushed into doing something, literally at the tampon aisle, which she says. Someone at Target. Did you see the whole video, right?
Did someone come up to her while she was buying tampons and like just lay that shit on her?
I sent you the video.
I skimmed it. I saw the end. Yes.
2 minutes long. That's all. Okay.
That's 2 minutes. That's 2 whole goddamn minutes. Okay.
Okay. Yes, she was in the tampon aisle at Target, and someone like approached her about Secret Invasion, which the show here in Red Spotlight, we've been talking about how there have been various rumors and reports in the last couple of months that suggested that she, as well as Clark Gregg, would come back for minor roles in the Secret Invasion Marvel series that is filming at the moment and won't stop filming until I believe the beginning or end of December. And then this is what happened. So TV line, without missing a beat, already around with the story. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. alum Chloe Bennett has a message for those expecting her to play a role in the Disney Plus upcoming series Secret Invasion. She says, "I am in no way attached or involved." What does she say here? Bennett on Wednesday evening, as a matter of fact, shared a multi-part Instagram story in which she set the record straight. She said, I am in no way attached or involved, even at all or a little bit, in the Secret Invasion Marvel thing, she avowed. I honestly don't even know what that is. Explaining the impetus for her full-throated denial, Bennett said that she thought the speculation would maybe blow over, but it has not. Rather, it has gotten to the point where every day, she says, I'm getting hundreds of messages about this and getting approached in person. Today it was in the tampon aisle at Target, so I figured I would clear the air.
How insane is it to get hundreds of messages a day? Like, I couldn't even fathom. Like, there's some people that get thousands upon thousands upon thousands of messages. I don't know. That's just insane to me.
Knowing how excited S.H.I.E.L.D. and Marvel fans were by the prospect, Bennett added, to be clear, I love the enthusiasm and all of your messages are from a pure place. I feel really bad that the casting rumor isn't true. Months ago, there were all these rumors and everything. So, where does that leave us? I don't know if that necessarily leaves us anywhere different than where we were before the fact, because I don't know if it's gone unnoticed, but like I feel like I read every week, and maybe it's just me, that Andrew Garfield denies that he's in Spider-Man No Way Home, or that Tobey Maguire denies he's in Spider-Man No Way Home.
That's a cute little nod and a wink.
Is it though?
Yes, it is. 100%. No, it's a cute nod and a wink.
Those are full-throated denials.
They are not. Here, it is. Yeah, I know nothing about this. Like, I'm sorry. Like, but no, this isn't happening. And kind of like, please stop asking me, because it's getting out of control. Whereas with Andrew Garfield, it's like, what? I guess it's a good idea, wink, wink. But, you know, I know nothing.
Those are not exact words. In fact, the actual comments are actually different than that, where they've flat out said, no, I'm not going to be in this. Every single time.
It's become whole bits on Jimmy Kimmel, okay?
Yeah.
It's clearly a thing that they're
we know
doing.
that they're going to be in it. We've known for a long time they're going to be in it.
That's what I'm saying. It's completely different. It's completely different.
Well, I don't think it's completely different. I think it's more of the same.
I think it's completely different.
So when you watch if you watch the whole video, I don't know. It didn't seem like this was, oh, well, I guess that's it and it's over now. I think
that's the way it seems.
I'm sorry?
That's the way it seems.
Oh, yeah, I get that. You get that. But can I finish what I'm saying first before you get to butt in again with the same opinion you've already said several times?
Carry on.
You need to allow for some person to finish, and then you can go ahead and say the exact same thing just so you can have the last word, which we all know you love to have.
By all means.
Yeah. The ultimate account for this will have to be when it actually happens. But the entire time, look, it's been either this or either that. For all of the hullabaloo that's been made about it, and I believe I've made this very clear from the first time we've discussed this, if literally every single rumor under the sun ends up being true except this one, you have no idea how unbelievably angry I will be. If literally every fucking rumor and their mom ends up being true, all except for this very one thing, you tell me how I am not to take that personally at this point. That's all I will say about that. So, but this happens every time. And this is the second time, by the way, she has denied this having happened or her involvement being in this. Others involved in those rumors and reports that we have spoken of have not been as emphatic in their denial as she has. So ultimately, we will see. But how likely is it that this is going to happen? Unlikely. Because when have they ever bothered with them? Seriously. When have they ever concerned themselves with what would make me happiest? Mm-hmm. Never. So here we are with this thing. It's either one of two things. Is she saying the truth? Probably. Or could this be another one of those things where, hey, people are talking about this too much. go on here, shut them up so we can move on with something else. I think both can be true.
I think it's
we'll have to see. And I believe you've said that as a number of 5 times now. So in case anyone at home listening was in any way doubtful about what Peter's thoughts were, he just repeated them for the 5th time in a row as if we didn't hear him the first 5,000 times. But there it is again. As I mentioned before, he so does love having the last word. But to the more important stuff, it's hilarious how, we were talking about before the fact that, there are so many useless think pieces and articles written about the media and everything. And when it came to the show, thousands of articles coming out of fucking Brazil of all places because, they put the show in a list of I'm sorry. Oops, I shouldn't say that. It's not MCU. They put it in a list of Marvel items on there, whether it be series or movies, that apparently somebody designated, not them themselves, as non-MCU. And then every publication ran with it. But of course, when there was a correction and it was moved back to some other place, was there anything to correct the record? Of course there wasn't. At the moment, at least for the last week or so, there was this screenshot that came out of the Disney Plus trending page of Brazil, and it turns out that it was the 2nd most binge-watched show on the service, behind What If. And if I'm not mistaken, that show is kind of, here in the States anyway, failed entirely, right? Oh yeah, we should probably talk about it. No, we can't. We can't say that What If is a failure. That would be wrong of us to do that. All the while, of course,
came in second to a failure?
I'm saying in the U.S. Now, this was obviously outside of the U.S. This was Brazil. And the fact that this so-called failure, when I'm talking about The Shield, was, 2nd of all TV shows on the streaming service, that would be pretty interesting to not at all mention that. Evidently, if you saw that screenshot, it was more popular than Moana. But of course, maybe that isn't saying much, considering that it didn't do anything when it came out in the box office a few years ago. So. Which, of course, is entire bullshit, because if you've seen the streaming numbers for Disney Plus, Moana is consistently in the top 10 streamed things on the service. So, what is the point of any of this? I don't know at this point, but I'm just throwing out there stuff.
The point is bitterness. And we know, okay.
And I think I have every right to be bitter. Come on. You are bitter over a number of things. And I feel you are entitled to your bitterness. I let it roll off
me. I'm as cool as a cucumber.
Oh, yeah, like that Dune stuff?
Oh, nothing but positive so far. I do not know what you speak of, sir.
Well, up until this point, but before the fact, it had been nothing but negative conversation on the show.
Yes, and I was sad, but I was just sad. That's all it was. I wasn't. I don't know. There wasn't this.
I don't agree with you. No,
there wasn't
that's not
this
true.
Sort of vengeance deep within me, burning like at the fire of 1,000 suns. And I know this because literally last time we recorded, we had this conversation, and I said, "What will it take to feel as if you vindicate? What will it take for you to feel vindicated when it comes to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? And you said for these characters to come out in Secret Invasion, and now we know for 1,000% fact that isn't going to happen.
That is your belief.
So there's just going to
no way a fact. Again,
it's a fact. The actor just came out and said it. So
the same actors. We just talked about how the Spider-Man actors keep talking about how they're not going to be in the project.
So now
Charlie Cox keeps getting asked that he's not going to be in the movie, and he turns out he is going to be in the movie.
Gaping, bleeding wound within you forever because of this decision.
Well, you tell me how it is that all of these actors keep getting asked, are they going to be in this project? And then they all say no, but we all know that they're going to be because of leaks. So of course, we shouldn't question any of that. Like, we know they're lying. Oh, but this one little Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. actor, immediately we have to believe what she says because it fits the narrative. It fits the narrative because why would they be asked? Why would anybody from that show be asked to be in any way legitimate, you know, or validated when it comes to the MCU proper? You have to understand, of course, there is that level at play here, because every single time this is made into a joke, it is laughed at, it is dismissed entirely. And, you know, I don't think this is funny. Like, seriously, this happens all the time. When you have people like Randolph say, oh, if they were involved, they would bring down the entire show and ruin it. When you have people on Kevin Smith's podcast say that, oh, well, you know, the red carpet, this is for the room where they put the cast of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. When you have you have Marcus and McFeely in the audio commentary of Infinity War joke about how there would be a whole episode of the series based on Obsidian's, like, cut off hand. How many years of just flat out abuse and disrespect has to come out of? Like, I have every right to feel completely walked all over and made fun of. Seriously.
God damn. Those were some major fucking burns.
Weren't they? For what reason? For what reason? I don't understand for what reason. Again, it is one of the most popular streaming options on Disney Plus around the world. We've talked about this. We're the only people talking about this because no one else will. And why is it important? Because when the Disney Plus International page somehow decides to put it in some other list, that makes news here. But what doesn't make news is how popular it is, how much it's being streamed. I can go up and down the list of how much all of this is just bullshit and how much enraging it is. And now you're just looking at your phone because, okay, great.
What's funny is...
You can reclaim your time, Peter.
Oh, thank you. What's funny is the reason why I see it differently is because, you know, the other two that you speak of, Mr. Matt Murdock and Amazing Spider-Man, when they interviewed those actors...
Can you not remember Andrew Garfield's name?
Andrew Garfield, there we go. Andrew Garfield and...
Charlie Cox.
They were interviewed. They were asked directly, are you going to be in this? Mm-hmm. And because they were put in that situation, they were forced to either leak major spoilers or lie.
Look, if you want to believe that she's telling the truth, that is fine, but it is not outside the normal.
There you go. Not even letting
outside.
me finish.
Listen,
not even letting me finish.
I'm cutting to the punch here. It is not outside the norms for one of the representatives from Marvel to tell her to go on social media and quiet the flames. This happens all the time.
They were
you haven't let a single person finish on this podcast for years. Now you know what this feels like.
They were asked directly in an interview, so they had to say what they had to say to cover their ass. She didn't have to say anything. She didn't. She chose of her own volition. No one interviewed her somewhere and then like she was put on the spot and she had to say that. If that had happened, I would say yes, it's 50-50. She could either be telling the truth or, you know, mum's the word, right? But because she chose to come out of her own volition and literally just like at her house just be like, yeah, I'm getting a lot of this, but I have to tell you guys, like, no, like, please stop. Like, I believe her.
Okay. Now, back to the more important thing. Yeah. Like the whole thing about, you know, how hilarious all of this happens to be. Because I just know that there are those listening. Kyle doesn't listen to our shows ever, so I know he's not going to listen to this, so he'll miss out on his hilarity. But I know
tell
Alexis
him to listen to this one.
I'm sure that David and Alexis are listening to this, and they're probably laughing to themselves. But I mean, it's like this isn't a joke to me. Like, this is actually serious here because look at all those things that just listed off.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, don't you think it's a little bit insulting? And it's as if like I was led astray that every rumor under the sun is true, except for this. There's even a multiverse happening where you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can introduce whoever you want.
Captain
Bring
Carter,
in whoever you can.
coming to a theater near you soon.
All of that will happen.
Mm-hmm.
But you're telling me that the only people that have no business being invited are them? And you think that if that's the case, do you think I should just like be okay with that and not feel angry or slighted or petty about it at all?
One, yes. Two, they're not the only ones. The Inhumans aren't invited either.
So, we will continue to cover the rumors on this as they come. So if you'd like to see the video, it's on Twitter or on Instagram, and you can see for yourself whether or not you like to believe her. Of course, it's humorous how this is the only person we have to believe when they deny something, but everybody else they deny everything.
Believe
we have
women.
to. Okay, fuck you, first of all. But the point is, like, of course, if there would be somebody who denies something and we have to believe them, it's this one. But if it's everybody else, they're obviously lying. I don't buy that. I refuse to buy that. Anyway, let's move on to Dune. Because apparently, everything's topsy-turvy.
Dune! Let me pull up the Dune. Dune. Dune, Dune, Dune. Okay. So, Dune. As both me and you know, I have been very worried. And you know what? I still have a lot of reason to worry. Especially when it comes to the US numbers. Like from what I've seen, I feel like HBO Max is just a box office killer.
Oh, do you? I wonder who was saying this way back in December when they announced this.
Grace Randolph.
No, it was me. Fuck that bitch. I said this first. I said this.
Grace, I know you're a loyal listener. I want you to know that I love you.
Listen to this. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get that graphic, but I'm the one that's been saying this the entire time. I said it from when it was announced. It would be a box office killer.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? That's what happened. Now, I remember at the time, everybody else was like concerned for other reasons, but it's like, obviously this was going to happen. Obviously it was going to happen. Like, I don't understand. Like we knew that. Okay, for some movies earlier in the year, the fact that it was on streaming the same weekend didn't necessarily deter too much from people that wanted to go out into the movies. But we've come to a point now where it very much has harmed many of the films because it eliminates repeat viewings, which, I'm sorry, that should have been an obvious thing to take away from when it was first announced. And it took us almost a year to figure out, oh, wait, this might be a bad thing. Which, and of course, I mean, earlier this year, WB did say they're going to go back to 45-day windows, theatrical windows only, back for 2022. But it's like, I don't know, like, duh, of course that was going to happen.
Yes. We love you, Grace. He gets in these moods. You're right.
Thank you.
I'm not here to poke the bear. Okay. The bear shall be unpoked. I never said you didn't say that, okay? I agree. Yes. Yeah, obviously it was going to affect the box office, for sure. For sure. It's free. It's literally free.
I'm not even getting mad at you. Just to be clear, I feel like you're taking that like it was directed at you. I'm just getting mad at people.
It was clearly directed.
It wasn't directed at you. I'm just saying that this is directed at everybody. Like, remember all the excitement? Remember all the cheering there was when this happened? By some circles? Like, oh, yay, we're going to get all these movies on HBO Max. And I was the one that was saying, wait a minute, a lot of these movies, people don't even give a fuck to go see in movies. How would this like bolster HBO Max and all this?
Okay.
And of course, it would help the movies.
The people that got happy about that are the people that don't give a shit about box office. They just want to be able to see the films.
Yeah.
You know, for free, basically. So yeah, when we're talking about domestic box office, I'm still unbelievably worried, right? Like extremely, extremely worried. But when we're talking about international, and hopefully because what's it called? They did say apparently WB all of a sudden Denis Villeneuve was totally cool with HBO Max, and then like 2 days later, they it came out that I guess the producers had said like or I'm not producers, WB themselves had said
the executives at WB or
yes.
HBO Max basically said that if Dune did very well on the streaming service, that would bode very well for a sequel.
Yes.
Now, speaking of believing things or not, do you really believe that? Do you really buy that?
Yes, I do, because I think they want to do shows.
Sure, but but we're not caring about shows right now. Mm-hmm. What we would want is the sequel. That should be what's most
but that's
pressing.
what I mean. They want, maybe I need to phrase this better. They want a franchise.
Yes.
And if they can create one, if it does really well on HBO Max, it's like, great, let's get that sequel. Let's get the spin-off shows moving. Let's get all of this, right? So they want it. But let's get into the numbers. It premiered overseas in about a handful of areas, and it was like a week before it opened in these overseas box office.
Just to be clear
areas.
again, it's not open here in America. It will open in a month from now on the third week of October. And in case people who are, not aware how these things go, movies don't come out everywhere at the same place and time. There are, in the international circuit, films come out well in advance, and so Dune is currently making the prowl, as they say, in different markets. And this is very key, Dune was confirmed to have a Chinese release, whereas Black Widow.
I was gonna end with that, but okay.
I'm sure you were. But listen, Black Widow. That's okay from you. I'm sorry. Okay,
you bitch.
Dan, okay, you know what? That's my bad. Continue.
It's too late. Cat's out of the bag. Yes, okay. Dune.
Yes.
Was this is very big.
It's very good. It's
very good for Dune, because it has a guaranteed set in stone. It's going to open the same day as the U.S.
Mm-hmm. In China.
China release.
The second biggest market in the planet.
Mm-hmm. So that bodes really well as far as box office there would be concerned. But it opened in 24 markets overseas. And about a week before it was going to premiere, it was projected to make about 20 million plus 20 plus million. So maybe anywhere between 20 to 24 million, and it made 36 million. So it overperformed by about 10 million, which is really good. I have a variety here. Let me just go ahead and read this. Dune. Written by Rebecca Rubin. She wrote the article. Dune, the dazzling big screen adaptation of Frank Herbert's seminal sci-fi novel, ignited the international box office in its debut, collecting 36 million from 24 overseas markets. It's a promising start, given the hobbled state of moviegoing in many foreign territories and the pandemic. Dune ranked in number 1 in most international markets and had the strongest turnout in Russia, with 7.6 million from 2,100 screens, followed by France with 7.5 million from only 892 screens, Germany 4.9 million from 900 screens, and Italy 2.6 million from 740 screens. IMAX accounted for 3.6 million of these week's ticket sales, representing roughly 10% of the total box office. And international... in a lot in places, there's still a lot of COVID restrictions, like definitely more than are here.
Well, so that's
impressive.
That's not even getting into, a lot of these international places, how much vaccine they have.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's why they're so stringent. In other areas, especially compared to here. They have stricter stricter lockdowns. And then, yes, it says here, in a positive sign for its big screen prospects, Dune has finally secured a release date in China at a time when several Hollywood movies haven't been able to play in the world's biggest movie market, and it debuts on October 22nd. So, yeah, it's only opened, again, in only a few small places so far, but everywhere that it's opened up, it's done really well in the international markets.
And who would have guessed that?
Yeah, no.
Already, before its big rollout, in America, HBO Max, and then of course the Chinese box office, as it's beginning to the beginning portion of its rollout in these smaller international markets, who would have thought that it was already beating expectations? That's a very good sign for the movie. That and honestly, kind of a lifeline, because if it builds enough support outside of the States, it could be cushion enough for how badly it could do in America. Because again, we have to point out a couple of things and loop in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. back into this conversation because it very much is relevant. Listen, the international markets and the States, sometimes there's, crossover in, success. Sometimes there's not. And sometimes they're on very two different wavelengths. I think we should be encouraged by this news. Maybe none more so than the fact that it secured a Chinese release date. That is very, very important and a big boon for them. And it should be clear that for those of us who love Denis Villeneuve as a filmmaker, I think what's most pressing is for the film to do enough box office wise, cumulatively all around the world, for WB to green light a sequel. Because as we've known for years now, the film Dune, the one that's going to come out right now, is really part one at best of anything, and that this was made with the intention of a sequel to come. But because of the pandemic and with streaming with HBO Max, and we've seen how a lot of the films like Suicide Squad have been hurt with HBO Max being a thing, we've just been very worried. Even in the best of circumstances, Denis Villeneuve's movies, the most comparable to this one would be Blade Runner. And look how badly that did in the best of circumstances. So we had a lot of reason to be worried. I will say with the international numbers, it should be a caveat though. And it should probably, unfortunately, keep our expectations in check for what it'll do in America, because HBO Max is not available all over the world. Yeah.
But that's why I think it was so smart to start internationally and then end with America. Because if you start with America, then there's the perfect, beautiful rips of the film that people all over the world can see. Like, why wait for... why go to the movie theaters if you can pirate it easily, right?
Yeah.
And pirating is really big and
getting bigger
in the foreign markets. Like, it's big here, it's huge across the sea, I'll say that. So yeah, I think the release schedule is perfect. Like, they had their big opening at TIFF, and then from there it started in France and spread out over Europe, and then it just keeps going to every foreign country, and then it ends with China and US. I think that's...
Yeah, look, for the reasons we've said, there is every expectation that the U.S. market will be the least amenable to this film for a variety of reasons. Because, and again, we'll have some other movies to see, like Halloween Kills and James Bond, then see how things, big movies like those, to see where movie going is. But as it stands with how good Shang-Chi did and how badly everything else did, our main analysis is that unless you have the Marvel tag in front of your movie, you ain't doing real well at the box office for any movie, really, for the most part. And we'll have to see how October fares. Maybe we can adjust our expectations. But and of course the whole HBO Max thing. I don't know. I still think like the bottom can still fall out because of how. I'm sorry. It's just that American audiences just didn't respond to Blade Runner at all. They didn't care that it was even coming out, and I really hope, as well as it's doing in the market, maybe that'll get, the A24 trick. It'll trick some people to come along and see it at least and spend some money the first time.
Okay, I hope so.
That's kind of the hope here, because it's his movies. Just the general audience, they want what they want, and sometimes if they're being asked to think, it doesn't bode well, which is stupid and sad, but that's just what it is, right?
I have heard this is his most mainstream film, but
okay,
it's also half a film.
That's concerning as well. I don't know. I guess like I'll have to see how James Bond does and Halloween does, to see if that like gets people to come back to the movies. But at the moment, I don't know. I can't help but think that maybe the range still is 15 to 25, maybe 15 to 35. Maybe it's there.
If he can hit 35, I think that's...
Well, that's blowing away expectations, that's for sure. Good enough? I mean, when the expectations are this low, yeah, I mean, that'll definitely be big.
It's usually a week before when you start to get your box office projections, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, it depends. Some do it a week, some do it a couple weeks before. It just depends on how things are. And we're in a volatile, like, box office environment right now.
Very.
So
very
it's like,
much so.
It could go very well, or it could go very badly. But I think all I say about this is the international audiences, I dig them. I think they've got great taste. I'll just say that. And I think the States, something about them sometimes just really rubs me the wrong way. But I think, not to compare my little engine that could to your behemoth Dune here, but I think it does speak to something larger, and that is, just because something is popular across the seas doesn't mean it'll be popular here.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's true.
But maybe it could. Maybe it could. We'll see how things go. I think that about does it for any news, right? Unless there was anything we missed. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the reviews. I want to, speaking of HBO Max, let's get straight into the Warner Brothers' latest film. When this was advertised, when I saw the trailer, I was interested, but I did not know. I know I had James Wan's name on it, but I did not know that he actually directed this movie personally. I thought it was by James Wan, like a produced movie of his, not that he actually directed it. So when I was hearing all the buzz for it, I was like, what? Really, this? And then, oh, wait a minute. When I sat down and watched it, oh, well, no wonder James Wan directed this. He's an amazing fucking director. And it's curious, I will say, just very brief, just takeaways from, what I'm monitoring off film Twitter in this space. Some people, as it turns out, are not as big fans of James Wan as it seems that you and I are. Or this movie, which is quite perplexing to me. But I don't know if that gives it away, but here is Malignant, of all things, that we're talking, a movie that we skipped entirely in theaters, which I kind of am saddened that we did, because
it was the perfect theater film.
Yeah, but we saw it, so there's that. Here's our review for Malignant.
Malignant, directed by James Wan. A new vision of terror. Madison is paralyzed by shocking visions of grisly murders, and her torment worsens as she discovers that these waking dreams are in fact terrifying realities. Cast: Annabelle Wallis, Madison Hassan, George Young, Michael Brianna White, McKenna Grace. Oh, she was in it? Okay. Yeah. Directed by James Wan, produced by James Wan. Written by someone else, I guess. Okay. Malignant.
Let's not mince words. This movie's fucking crazy. This movie is fucking crazy. And I think Randolph had it best when she said in her review, like, what it goes from what am I watching to, oh my god, what am I watching? That's literally I think that the best way to encapsulate what it is to watch this movie. It is obviously a horror movie. You know, James Wan honestly is kind of the master at a lot of these tropes and in doing it in a way where you don't see them coming, as you see here. But it's just, look, it is entirely, I think, I don't know, it feels almost as if you're combining the camp sensibilities of Aquaman with his Conjuring movies, and then this is kind of what you get here. This didn't feel like a movie that was made in the year 2021. Honestly, because we've been doing To the Table lately, we did John Carpenter's They Live, we did Society. This feels very much in line with a movie that would have come out in that era. Yes. And I think in the best way possible. I cannot believe this is a new movie. I'm not, maybe calling it a masterpiece is too much, but this was perfect. I loved it. I loved every minute of this movie. This was outstanding. And I cannot believe people walk away from this saying this was terrible or this was whatever. And I'm like, did you not get what the point? Like, this is amazing stuff here. And I want to stress that we will withhold the spoiler until as long as we possibly can, okay, for those who are listening. Mm-hmm. But this is great, man. This is in my top 5 favorite movies of the year already. This is amazing.
I think I saw somewhere that James Wan said he wanted to make a movie that felt like a horror B movie that you found at the back of the video rental store back in the day.
Did he say that?
Yes.
This is exactly what this was.
And that's exactly what it is. It pulls from a million different inspirations of the cheesy B movie horror films.
That's what it is. People don't like cheese. That's what it is.
That's what it is. 100%.
Okay.
And a lot of people, I guess, for me, the intent means something, right?
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people will look at this film and they'll say like, oh, it's shit, it's terribly made, and da-da-da. But it's not terribly made, right? Like, it's actually very slick and well done because James Wan is a good director, but they'll be like, oh, it was stupid, it was dumb, it was like, this part wasn't scary. And it's like, no, it's not supposed to be scary here. He knows it's dumb here. He knows it's bad writing here. He knows it's bad acting here. He knows this. It is all very deliberate.
Yes.
You know, give the film just the slightest bit of credit. And I think for me, the reason why I go like, okay, I know this is genuine. Well, for one, that opener is just so on the fucking nose. Like right when the movie starts, it is like he's telling you right now what this is going to be and that it's purposeful.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like when you literally have the fucking camera movements where it's like it fucking became Evil Dead Sam Raimi for that opening, and like the red lighting and the bad acting with bad dialogue, and then it's really just rolled up perfectly and tied in a bow as at the end of that first scene where the doctor literally looks at the camera and says, it's time to cut out the cancer, and then fucking rock music comes in like
right,
and it's like, okay, this is on purpose, guys. I swear to you, it's on purpose.
From that moment, I was like, man, I feel like I'm a kid again watching an old movie or something.
Yeah,
because this is how they used to make movies, and guess what? Yes. They were good when they made them that way.
It's so like, fun. Really good. It's so fun. So like, watching this movie, you know what? Under criticisms, though, I don't know. Okay, because I can understand maybe going like that opening shouldn't be there because it gives it away. I can maybe understand that. Because you can make an argument that it would be a lot funnier if the movie starts and it's like, oh, okay, it's another James Wan spook fest. You know, ooh, it's gonna be scary. And it kind of starts that way, right? With the creepy house, this seems to be a demonic entity. And then slowly and slowly and slowly, you're like, wait, this isn't what that is. And then the third act drops and you're like, wait, what the fuck? You know?
Yes.
But the film lets you know, that scene lets you know, like, okay, this is going for something very different, right? But then it pulls you back right after that and it's like, okay, typical James Wan. It's like this big spooky house that doesn't look like it should. It's not possible that it exists, with fog, like constant fog. There are like 20 fog machines running 24/7 on this block. Like this massive old looking house, and like she's a fucking nurse, but she owns this like old mansion in San Francisco. Like, what? Oh no, Seattle. Like, okay. But yeah, it starts off like there is this either demonic or otherworldly force, and it's terrorizing her, and it's classic James Wan, and it's so slick and it's so well done. The scares are really good, but then it starts to like morph into a mystery, and little things or a lot of things, right, let you know like, okay, like this is more over the top, this is that, and then the third act just like lets loose completely. And it feels like there's different inspirations in each section of the film. Like the first one is very much classic, like horror ghost stuff. And then a lot of people have pointed this out. Like a lot of the mystery stuff in the second act is like the giallo, and that's like Italian horror, where it's a lot of like mystery killer type stuff, Italian horror of that time that became big at that time, big staple of the movie stores, the video rental stores at the time. And then the third act is just like, and a lot of people pointed this out too, like fucking trauma, like over the top, gore fest hilarity. But there's also like The Matrix, kind of, with like action that happens towards the end.
Not
like,
just that, but then also this really hilarious, and I think to a point. No, that is the point. This you called it rock music. It was like this mix of rock / techno, like fast paced like music that you'd see. Not only does it play over the opening credits, but it plays in several, I think, montage sequences as well. The
score is fucking great. It's funny. Yeah. There's so many just like needle drops, kind of, where it's just like.
But it's a score. It's not a song.
Yeah. Well, it's like portions of a song that are kind of like dropped in there, and they kind of incorporate into the score. It's so good. I love it. But no, I really loved this film because it cemented, for me, it cemented my love for James Wan, because it told me like, this man cares. He knows what's up. Okay. I like, my respect for him. Incredible. And I saw some interviews with him. He just got done doing Aquaman, and he's like, I knew I was gonna do Aquaman 2, and he's like, I just want to get back and do something crazy, something different. He took all the clout and opportunity that was given to him for making a $1 billion film with Aquaman, and he made this movie. And I just think that's so cool.
Yeah.
He's great. Yeah.
Oh man, and also like legitimately like I agree with you, the sensation that this film starts off as one thing and then it slowly morphs into something else, and I love that too. I you know, everything you said I think is true. Like I just like from the beginning I sat back comfortably, as you say, and you just know that you're in the hands of somebody that knows what he's doing, and man does he ever know what he's doing. Seriously. Even in the beginning, like when we first see Gabriel, as we say, kill, and man, is it good. It's hilarious how in one scene, in that one early scene, when the husband gets up and look around the house, that was everything that was missing from the third Conjuring film right there. In one scene, because he just knows how to do stuff where you'd think, you know, on paper, it's like, oh, of course this is easy. But a lot of people just make it look super obvious, and then when it happens, it's not scary. He just knows. He is the master of the jump scare if there ever was one. And every one of those got me. Every one of those got me. And the voice of Gabriel is so appropriately creepy and disturbing, and how, you know, it uses the electronics to kind of have that, to communicate and speak. It's just so unnerving. There is this, oh my God, in the third act, let's just say when Gabriel reveals himself, I can't get that image out of my head, man. It is just beautiful and gory and disturbing and scary all in the same way possible. It's just, he's got it.
And he goes for it, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't even think he thinks twice about like, will this play well with an audience? He's just like, no, this is going to be fucking great. Like, fuck yeah.
I think he's earned the right to not care about that. Didn't he like make $2 billion films with Furious 7 and Aquaman?
Not only that, but he's made multiple franchises from Saw,
the Conjuring
to Conjuring to City. People forget he started Saw. Yeah, he deserves, not that he deserves, but like, from the point of view of the studio, why wouldn't you give this man another horror film, right?
Right, yeah. I think there are already plans for this being another franchise, probably.
Oh, God. Well, he left it open at the end, didn't he?
Didn't he? Yeah.
I loved it. Can we talk about the ending? Because
let's go ahead and get there.
Okay. Gabriel is the killer, and the killer is teased multiple times throughout the film. At first, you're like, oh, it's this sort of ghost or demonic entity. And then it goes, and at some point we see like, well, no, it's a person. And then we go, well, wait, but then as a child, our main character would talk to Gabriel. It was quote unquote her imaginary
By the way,
friend.
Those scenes when they look at the old videotapes, chilling to the bone. Yeah. Chilling to the bone. Let me just say that right now.
Would have sent that kid back. I'm sorry. Fuck that.
Oh man, there were many, you know how we interact with horror movies, especially because part of the thing with horror movies, and I wish we would have seen this with an audience, because then you get to like think to yourself, or maybe someone would even say out loud, girl, don't go in there. And you think like what you would do. There were many times where I would just like, nope, and just run in the other direction.
Yeah.
Real quick though, there was actually one in that scene I had mentioned earlier, after the husband is killed and everything. And then Annabelle, what's the actual Madison? She darts for the door, and that's what I would do. But I love how Gabriel was like, "No, bitch!" And he slammed the door in front of her. Sorry, I'm just going off on tangents. I love this movie, clearly.
But it's finally revealed that Gabriel was her twin brother, basically. Not
just any twin brother, though. Oh my God, that reveal is so good.
Conjoined twin. Basically think Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. The reveal that was in that film is the same reveal here. Gabriel is attached to the back of her they share the same brain. His face is back here, and it's basically a little monster that's attached behind her. And when she's a kid, to be clear, it's not a deformed like person. Like, no.
I think deformed is too kind. This is, I think, intentionally designed to be designed to look demonic.
Yes, yeah. It's designed not to look human.
No.
Mm-hmm. And the doctors decide to, because he is so murderous, eventually decide to cut him out as much as they can.
Cut out the cancer. I love that line.
But because they share a brain, they cannot cut him out completely. So what they do is, with whatever is left of him, they just shove that shit back into her skull and then close it up.
Isn't that hilarious? Because in retrospect, you think, wait a minute, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
know how that would improve anything.
Exactly.
Maybe it did in the short term, but the brain is kind of the important part of your body, and you're just shoving him in the skull and cutting it zipping it up and like hoping it all kind of goes away. Yeah, that was, oof. That did not work out, as it turned out.
No, it did not. But again, so perfect. The movie, when you first meet the characters, it's like a fucking Lifetime drama.
Right.
It starts out that way, and her husband, this motherfucker, just like chucks her head into the wall, like he's trying to break across the other side.
I couldn't believe what I saw. I was like, holy shit. I even texted you like last night when I was watching it. It's like I just watched somebody like smother brains across the wall. Yeah. That's how aggressive it was.
It's the most aggressive shit I've ever seen. I was just like, whoa, like the first time I saw it, like, holy shit. And apparently that cracked her skull and woke up Gabriel. And this entire time, what he will do is he will take over her body, fucking open the back of her skull, and like his little brain face like comes out. He twists her body kind of backwards and goes out and kills.
Because the backwards is his frontwards. If that's any better of explaining it for people to visualize this.
Mm-hmm. And you learn this at the end of the movie when our main character is in a comically large cell block with like...
Wasn't that really big? Like,
yeah.
That doesn't...
With 20 other inmates, including a butch biker chick, and...
That was over the top. But, I mean, clearly it was intended to be that way. All the people in
black disco dancer from the 70s.
Right? Was this...
I was like, what year is it? What is
it? It felt like that one episode of The Golden Girls where they get like arrested for, suspected of being prostitutes. Yeah. Literally, it felt like that same set.
No, this one was much larger. So then what happens is he reveals himself and fucking murders everyone. And it is the most insane looking shit. Right. Because it's like this evil brain person poking out behind the back of her head while she's completely asleep, and it's like fighting backwards the entire time, just fucking brutally murdering people. And you think like we've hit the peak absurdity. But no. Because then that fucker enters the police station. And again, the police station is also comically large.
Yeah, like...
And then just starts eviscerating people. Like, and again, the action scenes...
I'm not even sure that's a fair description. Gabriel just starts mowing them down.
but not with a gun. This fucker knows kung fu. And is just like the most badass fighter. Again, some Matrix shit. And like at one point, Gabriel cuts off the hand of one cop and uses it to beat another cop. And it ends perfectly with Gabriel from across the entire police station picking up a chair and hitting our main cop heroes for no fucking reason. I thought he was gonna go over to them and like kill them, but he just leaves. Like when he picked up the chair, I thought he was gonna throw it through the window and hop out. But no, it was just like a last fuck you, and then he was out of there. So weird.
Detective Kay or Kakawa Shaw and Detective Regina Moss, the two cops that we basically spent much of this movie with, like they're basically like they're limping to the exit. I think Regina had part of her stomach like not cut open, but like clearly like sliced through in the beginning. Not terminal, at least not that I think it was. Her guts weren't flying out. Yeah. And then like at this point, this was his second confrontation. I think Kay. And they're just limping away, and you think that's it. And then, as you say, from across the room, Gabriel just throws a chair at them and knocks them down. And I feel you could have added a laugh track in there, and I would have laughed even harder.
It was great.
There was no reason for that.
No, just fucking petty.
No, man, like I can't agree with you. I can't agree with you more. That of everything you just said, you think that would be the peak. That reveal in the prison, I had a big smile on my face. Like it was the weirdest. Like the emotions, the mix of emotions that I was feeling was just like so perfect. I was disturbed and I had chills, but also I was excited and I was smiling, and it was just. I don't know. I guess that's the best kind of feeling you hope for out of a horror movie, right? It's amazing, just the reveal. It's horrifying and hilarious. And then once he starts taking out the cops, that's like, man, it's not a great year for cops in horror movies. Let me just say that.
No,
it's not. But holy shit! Like, and also. The action was kind of great.
That's the thing. It just became a cool action film in the most ridiculous way for like 5 minutes. This film, and again, for no political reason, like fucking hates cops more than Candyman did.
Right?
Just out of fucking nowhere. Just massacred a shit ton of cops.
He wiped them all out.
Yeah. With the camera fucking flying 360 degrees.
Like, you'd think a couple of velociraptors went through that room if you see how it ended up being.
It was glorious. It was so funny. So fucking funny.
Oh, no, look, like, there was a couple of things. I think the mystery element is also very good. Yes, I can see how some would think, and in some ways it does. The opening credits just kind of shows you, a little bit of it, but I think it's really cleverly done. I think it's brilliantly done because it kind of kept me guessing the entire time. But, like, that twist is great. It's just so good. It gets you like, what the fuck? Literally. And as you're seeing it kind of happen, you're just like in disbelief, like, wait, this is what this movie is? This is what's been happening all along? And I think, like, to me, trying to piece back, because at first, like, it's a James Wan movie, and at first, as it's played in that first, like, big reveal, not big reveal, but that scene where, Gabriel kills the husband and everything, you think to yourself, well, yeah, this is clearly a demonic entity. That's one of those ghost things. It has to. It's The Conjuring 3, but basically, with James Wan. Yeah. But then, like, it came to a point where I kind of like, wait a minute. This is a lot. This can't be what I think it was, because I think what really kind of the pivot was this absurdly long but hilarious chase sequence.
Yeah.
With Detective K and Gabriel, where like it just kept going and going, But the longer it happens, the more, and I can't help but wonder if this is kind of the intent as one of the clues here. The more you, like, if this was the demonic entity, wouldn't they just poof away and that would be it? Like, why would you do all this?
You don't chase down a demon like this. Like, this is clearly a physical entity. And that's also your first real, like, glimpse at, like, this thing's running backwards.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Like, it all just makes so much more sense looking back on it now. Oh, I love that so much. Jesus, man. Oh, wow. And there were also, like, for the longest time I was wondering, because it happens relatively early on in the movie, there's just this random person Gabriel kidnapped.
Oh, yeah. Just halfway through the movie, or like a part of a way through the movie, he just kidnaps someone. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? Who is this? Why is this happening? But it does come full circle, and you do realize why it's happening. Like,
I'll tell you this. By the time she was hilariously, like, oh man, this scene was... This is after, I guess, the whole seance bit where they bring in this person that, like, is an expert on, like, you know, triggering old memories, Kay and the other person, to try and, like, see where, you know, where the origins of Gabriel came from in Madison's mind. As they're leaving, I was laughing so hard because of how comical it was. Holy shit, that fall. Because it's revealed that this person that Gabriel had kidnapped was in, I guess, the attic of Madison's home. She was just there the entire time. And then she just happens to fall through. And it's a really comical, but also kind of a bad fall. But because it's like, holy shit, I'm just laughing because, like, damn, that was a big fall. And also, like, of all the things, I didn't think she was here. I just didn't think, like, oh, I guess this was the entire time. Also, it's fucking incriminating as hell. It's like, oh, fuck, this is not great. But it's like, oh, and it's also hilarious because, oh, I forgot you were in this movie. I forgot all about you.
She just crashed back into the movie.
I also did think it was, what I thought was neat were the transitions of, I guess, cause like it's revealed that Gabriel kind of like, while he's taking over, he creates false mind prisons, I guess you could say, for Madison to dwell in.
Yeah. He can make her see what he wants her to see.
And sometimes, and also when he's killing someone, she can see it, and you see the transitions of her being where she thinks she's at to where the scene that Gabriel is about to kill someone, she sees the whole thing happen. I loved that. I also just loved how kick-ass it was when she took charge.
Yeah.
'Cause that, and they saved that for the very end when they reveal it wasn't just the fact that Gabriel was awoken by, like, the husband, like, beating her across the wall. Which, by the way, in retrospect, wasn't it hilarious? And I think also, like, it's hilarious how you kill off the most unsympathetic person in the movie and no one cares. I mean, rightfully so. Oh yeah, the husband's dead and now we're just not...
a shit.
No one cared.
No.
Rightfully so.
Fuck him.
Yeah, fuck him. But anyway, it's revealed that he was feeding off the babies that Madison was carrying. And at that point, she's had 3 miscarriages.
Yes.
And that's where it fucking snaps. And she takes charge. That was, and at first I was like, because they got me. When at that moment, that this is the climax of the movie.
He blows the sister's brains out.
Literally, and then he kills the mom, and I'm like, what? And I was in this like state of like, where do we go from here? And then I realized, oh wait, no, this didn't happen. And then they show you this didn't happen. This was Madison taking charge and imprisoning Gabriel for a change.
Yeah, and then she basically puts him in her mind prison.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll get out again. And she's like, this time I'll be ready. And all I could think of during that ending was, like, she's going to jail, right?
How could you go to jail if there are no cops left?
If you kill every cop in the world. At one point when she's fucking murdering the cops, one of them is like on the comms, and they're like, send in the fucking National Guard. I was just laughing. So cheesy.
Well, here's the thing, like, before Gabriel reveals himself, you think to yourself, how the fuck is Madison gonna get out of this one? Because like, they got her. Like, the woman flying through the house, I think, was incriminating enough. Like, oh, okay, so this is, and then they found the costume, they found the murder weapon, sealed thing.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though, Kay and Regina were left alive, and they were in the room with that really disturbing phone call, because they can't explain that. They can't explain. And she took out her device and she recorded the conversation where, like, Gabriel was talking directly to them. Mm-hmm. And he said, dumb bitch didn't even know I was there. Those were the exact words that Gabriel on the phone said. So how do you fucking explain that? And then also all this other shit that went down.
But then you explicitly see her murder dozens and dozens of people. I don't know how she doesn't go to prison.
I guess we'll find out.
And I think that's why the movie ended right there and didn't show you anything more. Because if you show any more, you show the cops show up like, oh, you're going to prison for the rest of your life. You fucking murdered 50 billion people.
Another one of the ways that it felt like a movie out of the 80s, it just ends when the climax is over.
Yep. I love that shit. It's so great. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, it ended? All right, bye. Why? We're not going to waste your time. The story's over. No. I respect it so much.
You know, I'm happy that it's, you know, it did it well enough on HBO Max that, you know, they're going to look at this and see this is the beginning of a new franchise. Although I will say, I don't know where you go from here. I don't even know if you care. If I care, really. This movie is so great. But holy crap. Wouldn't it be amazing if this became the next like franchise where they take it into space and it goes into all these different directions?
I mean, I can already see where you would have the two. She'll clearly start in an asylum. A fucking insane asylum somewhere. And then, I don't know, you have the fucking guards or the other people, the other crazy people in there. They fuck with her. Maybe, you know, she gets into a fight at the fucking cafeteria and someone decks her behind the head with their tray. And it's like, oh no, he's back. And then he starts fucking killing again. Like, I can see the sequel in my head. I don't know. It would be funny, though, to see multiple films. Because what would be funny is they would be genuinely bad. And I think that would be really funny. Like I said, I love horror franchises. When they get to like 7, 8, 9, we're going to space. We're taking Manhattan, the whole shebang.
Leprechaun in space is shooting that peacock.
Leprechaun in space. And Leprechaun in the Hood and Back to the Hood. The direct sequel. So yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. This is a great year for movies. I'm just going to say. I can't remember the last time we've had this many great movies in a row. At least this many great reviews in a row.
Yeah, it's been hit after hit. And I remember... Was it 2019? That was a year.
I think you're referring to the summer of 2018 in particular.
Maybe.
That was the summer we had Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, The Incredibles 2, Ant-Man and the Womp Womp. Like,
yeah, it was just like film after film. Where it's just like, fuck, like...
Solo.
Yeah. It was just so fucking lame. So lame.
It was depressing.
Very much so. And like right now, it's just like, fuck, this was cool. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this. Like next month, there's like a new movie every week where I'm like pumped. Like, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, Dune. Fuck yeah, Halloween Kills. Fuck yeah, fucking Go Into Soho. Last Night in Soho.
James Bond.
Fuck yeah, James Bond. You know, like.
And that, by the way, we haven't talked about it as much. Not to, well, Kyle's not here, so clearly we're not talking about it as much.
Watch out, you might summon him.
The trailers look amazing, though.
It looks good.
Yeah,
it looks good. I'm looking forward. I think it's gonna be fun.
It's Cary Fukunaga, right, that directed it?
Yes, he's a good director.
Yeah, wrote the best episode of The Mandalorian.
That's
Season
right.
2.
Yes, he did. Have you seen Star Wars Visions yet?
I have not. No.
You like anime bullshit? You should check it out.
Yes, I will. I've heard a lot of really good things about it. I just wasn't. Yeah, I was watching What If, but I'll be honest with you, I haven't watched it in 3 weeks. I kind of don't care anymore.
It's kind of whatever. I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's where it's like the Doctor Strange episode was very good, but ever since then it's just been like there's so many ways you can take this concept, and it just feels so like, what if Thor was an only child? What? That's the direction you go with? What if zombies? Oh, okay.
I guess for me, it's like the what ifs are fun when it's like the question is fun. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, clearly.
It's like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a what if that was interesting. I don't know.
Clearly, none of them weren't. Anyway, I'll catch that and we'll get back. Well, have you seen Disney Gallery The Mandalorian, the Luke Skywalker episode yet?
God.
Because remember, we're supposed to be doing a review on that.
Are we?
Yes.
Why? You like to hurt me.
I would argue you enjoy doing the same to me.
No. I don't like hurting you. I like to see you hurt. It's different. Because I don't want to facilitate the hurt. But if you do get hurt, it's funny, right? Whereas you like to be the facilitator. You like to know, like, I am the one causing the pain, right? Whereas, like, I take no joy in causing you pain. But if you happen to, get some pain, I mean, I'll be there to laugh at it. You know what I mean?
That sounds like the most bullshit thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's true.
The Lannisters send their regard. Okay. Great.
And the North remembers.
Yeah. Anyway, Malignant's an amazing movie. Go watch it. Please. And watch it again. Anyway, shall we move on to the next horror thing we've got to do? I'm curious to see do we want to tackle all three of these at once? Or take them one by one? Because it's pretty much one story split into 3 parts. Although 3...
This is what we'll do. We'll talk about how we feel about the trilogy as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't want to go like one by one, but like if we want to point out things from specific films, maybe like which one's our favorite, and then, how we feel about the other 2, and then just kind of like hop from place to place. So yeah, okay. Fear Street. Fear Street was the young adult books written by R.L. Stine. It's basically the young adult version of Goosebumps. Fear Street always dealt with the less goofy aspects of Goosebumps, and it was a little bit more like serial killers, supernatural killers, that kind of thing. Whereas Goosebumps was like, whoa, it's an evil, slappy ventriloquist doll and goofy stuff like that. So, Fear Street was always the edgy, older sibling. And not only did Netflix do a Fear Street movie, they did a Fear Street trilogy. That's right, Fear Street 1994, Fear Street 1978, and Fear Street 1666. They were released, I believe, a week from each other. for 3 weeks, and they told one cohesive story. So it's kind of like, if you want to look at it as like a limited series event, you know, you could kind of look at it that way, I guess. But yeah, Fear Street 1994. I am going to go ahead and I guess I got to read all three. I'm going to do it back to back to back. Okay. Fear Street 1994, directed by Leigh Janiak. Face the evil. In 1994, a group of teenagers discovers that the terrifying events which have haunted their town for generations are all connected and that they may be the next targets. Fear Street 1978, directed by Leigh Janiak. Find the truth. In 1978, two rival groups at Camp Nightwing must band together to solve a terrifying mystery when horrors from their town's history come alive. And last but not least, Fear Street 1666, directed by, would you guess it, Steven Spielberg. End the Curse. In 1666, a colonial town is gripped by a hysterical witch hunt that has deadly consequences for centuries to come, and it's up to teenagers in 1994 to finally put an end to their town's curse before it's too late. I grew up a Goosebumps kid. I turn right now and I see my box collection of Goosebumps that I have, and that's not even all the Goosebumps books I have, because I loved reading them as a kid. I got a little bit into Fear Street. I definitely read a few. I remember one about like some overachiever girl whose fucking boyfriend turned out to be a killer and whole thing. But those were a little more rough as far as remembering those books. But so I was really excited when this was announced. Very, very, very excited. Because it's such a cool idea, right? Like fucking Fear Street, fucking trilogy, back to back to back. Really embrace the tone. Very much is Goosebumps meets slasher, and it's so fucking cool. And yeah, I watched all three when they dropped week to week to week, and I really dug the shit out of this trilogy. It spoke to me in many, many ways. and I think you'll see as we talk about it the ways in which it spoke to me. But yeah, I dug the shit out of this.
It's been a great year for movies, and it also has been a great year for horror movies. Honestly, they've just been very hit for me. And it was, I think, just overall a great experience being able to enjoy these as they were, being dropped 1 week apart from each other. It's very much one continuous story, but there are, I think, there maybe perhaps the third one to a less extent, but they can, act as standalone entities. This is very good. Just overall, this is just very, very good stuff. And stuff that I would want to watch on a Halloween night, actually.
Yeah, it gives the fun Halloween vibes for sure. 1000%.
Like, it's not that deep, It's not. Well, it's not. It ain't the kind of disgusting, disturbing stuff that will make your stomach churn. However, and I think, like, aside from like what the thing that like where maybe it's a bit too maybe calling it young adult maybe a bit too unfair is, man, they do have some they've got some kills in these movies.
Oh yeah, that
you don't think would be in, I think, a movie with this kind of tone to it. Like, it does feel like the tone of Goosebumps. But holy crap, man. Some people get off here in a way that I was laughing because, holy shit, I didn't see that coming. I think I love the actors. They do a really good job here. I love the connective tissue and the overall story it's telling. But I just love the fact that it goes for some shit here. It's fun, but it also can be kind of scary in places when you don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
And I really love how it all like ties up at the end to a twist I didn't see coming.
Ooh.
And I thought it was all very effective as well. This is a must-watch for the year, and a must-watch if you're in the spooky season. Like we're getting blessed with so many great things this year. From this genre, whether it be The Quiet Place, with this, with Malignant. Remember, we still got Halloween Kills. We got Candyman, and if that wasn't enough, we've got a new series,
Ghostbusters, if you want to count it.
Sure, but that'll be after the season, unfortunately.
Oh, shit.
Halloween
Okay.
season.
Yeah.
But Just in Time is the next series from Mike Flanagan.
Yes.
Midnight Mass. So I don't remember there being a time we've had this much great content for you to watch for Halloween. So
yeah, if you out there have not seen these films yet, I think they're perfect to just get into the spooky season.
The WandaVision Halloween episode too. Like, there's a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah, if you
can just watch. Yeah,
it's out there.
Oh yeah, those are my thoughts on it. Very good, and I would say, I don't know if do you want to do the ranking of them right now or at the end?
Let's do it right now, just to spread out.
For me, I in the middle is the first one. It's very, very good. It was a great fucking start. For me, where it really excelled was the second one. That's easily the best for me, because that had, like, I think that's also the scariest, but it also had, it is just really brazen, honestly, with some of these kills. It is relentless.
Yeah.
In a way you have to respect, really. And the environment also is even better. The camp environment works better for it as well. And then the third one is the third one, 1666. Although I think it was a great ending, but of the three, I thought it was my least favorite. So number one was the second one, it's 1978. Number two was the first one, 1994, and then third one was 1666.
I'm gonna cheat. I think my favorite. Yes, I'm going to cheat. My favorite was Fear Street 1994 Part 2. Because halfway through Fear Street 1666, it cuts to black and says Fear Street 1994 Part 2. That's kind of the reveal in that film. And I loved that whole ending. I'm a sucker for, like, the town's in trouble.
Yeah.
We could fucking die, but we're just kids, and we have fucking water guns, and I'm a sucker for that shit. I really, really am. I love it so much, and I love the ending. I love the fuck you attitude of the ending as well. All the different serial killers come out to play. There's a great sequence where they get them to, like, murder each other, and I was like, it's that surface level shit that I fucking love. So 1994 Part 2 is my favorite. After that, I would say 1994 Part 1. It's the most cohesive, I think, and works best as a standalone.
Yes.
But I don't know, I just really, it's that high school, it has the most Halloween feel.
That's true.
High school stuff. I think it's really neat. After that, I would say 1979. I think that has 8. It has some of the best character stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Because you really grow to like the sisters and the stuff they're going through. And then the last one, 1666. And 1666 is basically there to reveal shit. I feel. Yeah. It acts as like, okay, here's what's happening, right? And like for about 40 minutes, it's this sequence in the past to just let you know, okay, just breaking everything down. And then afterwards, we pull back to 1994, and it's like, okay, finale time. So yeah, that's how I would rank them.
Okay. That is cheating though, because you are basically you're cutting it. You're cutting one movie in half.
Yeah.
You're cutting one movie in half and like, okay, this is the best part of it. But I agree with you. It's like, I guess if we're going to be, I don't know if critical is the best way of saying it, but if we're going to look at 1666 and why it is the weak link, well, because it's kind of like 2 movies.
Yeah. I mean, the movie admits that it's 2 movies.
That's right. I forgot that it said 94 part 2.
Yeah.
Halfway through.
It did.
Huh. Yeah. But I guess if you're watching it all in one go, it's less of an issue. But if you're watching them as individual films, well, that third one is kind of like, okay, well, it says 1666, but then halfway through it says, well, actually, we're the part 2 of the one from the first one. Okay. Yeah, not the most cohesive of things in your movie to say that. But overall, for the little bit you get as 1666, that stuff's good too.
Yeah.
Because you get to see the combo of the 2 casts from 94 and 78 all together in the same place, and then it kind of ends in like hysteria. Oh, also, yeah, that was upsetting. Just seeing that stuff on screen was upsetting. Just the townsfolk and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was not fun. But then it all coming back together it was a great finale. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, that's kind of what people care about most, and the fact that it all came back together was great. Yeah, no, I think that's true very much so with 1994 having the most like Halloween feel to it because they're high school kids and it's kind of revolving around the school and everything. So yeah, that's where we are.
Yeah. What I think really gives it that Goosebumps feel is it's this supernatural thing of like you have this one town where everything seems to go wrong. There's all these murders and things disappear. And it's a little bit like It, right? Like oh, the kids always go missing and da 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 da. And it by the time you get to midway point, it really goes full adult Goosebumps, which I mean that is what Fear Street is, where like all the evil serial killers of yesteryear are raised from the dead and are out to kill our heroes and they're running around town. And fucking adults, again, it does that thing where like adults kind of don't exist. Like you never once see the main girl's parents. You see her and her brother, but their parents are never seen.
No, not at all, right?
And I love that in films. I remember as a kid, there's some of my favorite movies as a kid where it was that thing of like adults kind of don't exist because kids just kind of go and do whatever the fuck. And like you hardly ever see the parents, but it's, I don't know, it's great. That usually means the movie's pretty fucking fun. So yeah, I love that tone, and I love how much fun it is with the music and the sort of the neon light aesthetic that they have going with it. They pull a, what do you call it? A scream. Do you know how they pulled a scream?
With the first guy?
The first film.
Yeah, they pulled the scream. Wait, I'm trying to think how. Because the first movie ends with like the boyfriend being the killer.
Because the most one of the most iconic scenes in Scream is how the movie begins with Drew Barrymore. And like the first 5 to 10 minutes are Drew Barrymore as our main character, and she's very famous and very big, and then she dies 10 minutes into the film by the killer, and it's this big what the fuck moment, and that was Scream was supposed to be sort of this subversion of the slasher genre, And they kind of do an homage to that here, where you start with Maya Hawke. And she's sort of like the Drew Barrymore stand-in, where it's like famous person should be the lead, or you would assume would be the lead character, and then she's fucking murdered 10 minutes in or 5 minutes into the film. So there's a lot of that, right? Like, it very much wears its influences on its sleeve, but it's fun. The characters are fun. I will say the main character in the first film, she's kind of shitty. What's her name? Is it Kiana? Wait.
Sam?
Dina? It says Dina Johnson. What? Is that the actress's name? Sam, right? Oh, no. Wasn't Sam the white girl?
Yeah, she was the white one.
No, the lead. What was her name?
I don't know. I have to look it up right now because I forget.
Because is it Kiana or is it Deanna? I guess it's Deanna. Dina. Sorry. She was kind of
Dina.
She could be a little off-putting sometimes. But you kind of get where and they're fucking teenagers too. That's what you always have to remember.
They're kind of supposed to be off-putting.
Yes. Teenagers. They're smart and they're young adults, but they're smart young adults for the first time. So they will say things and make decisions that make you go like, "What the fuck?" And that's just the way it is since the beginning of time. But I don't know. Yeah, what's hard is there's so much film. It's 3 full-length films. I don't even know which to tackle.
I mean, so, well, what's the name of the Sarah something?
Sarah FAIRE.
Sarah FAIRE. Okay.
I wanted to talk about that whole reveal.
Yeah, let's talk about it right now.
So yeah, Sarah FAIRE is not the witch. She is in fact a victim. She was the first victim. The first shady sider, if you will, as they say in the film. And this is I found this to be a very, what do you call it? An almost response to the, what do you call it? The Reagan, the Reagan-esque politics of slasher films of the 80s, where it's like, if you're a kid and you drink and do drugs and have sex, you deserve to die in these films.
Yeah.
This film is kind of a response to because that's what happens throughout this film. There's a very affluent, good side of town where nothing bad happens. And then you have shady side where, they have sex, they do drugs, they grow up in a much poor neighborhood. And it's like, oh, they're killing each other. Well, of course they are, and this sort of, assumption that's put on through slasher tropes where it's like they kind of deserve to die because of these sins that they're committing. And through the reveal of Sarah FAIRE, it's like it's kind of a fuck you and fuck the high horse you rode in on. These aren't sins. These are awesome, basically, because Sarah FAIRE turns out she was a lesbian, and like our main character. From 1994, and she fell in love with a girl. They caught her, so the town fucking Snoop. I think it's because I saw a meme recently, but you remember the show Recess?
Yeah.
The kid that would always tattle on the. I just thought of I forgot his name, but I just thought of him. They're basically ratted out, and this is at the same time that a string of murders happen in their village So it's their pea-sized brains very quickly move to the idea that, oh, because of their perversion, they are causing all, they're letting the demons in, and this is what's happening. Turns out, no, it's one of the dudes there. Oh, fuck. I forgot the name of because didn't they have like a last name that it's like, oh, it's the family name?
Good something?
Good. Yeah. Oh, so fucking on the nose. It's good.
Yeah.
Oh, because I remember because this is the part where maybe they took it too far when it's because it's revealed that the good family is actually basically Satanists. They stole this evil Satanist book from a real witch, I believe, and they sacrifice Shady Side members in order to keep their prosperity. Very on the nose messaging, as we've been talking about in To the Table.
Yeah.
But when this is revealed to our main heroine, she's literally like, good is bad. and when that happened, watching it, I remember going like, okay, maybe you went to quote George Lucas, you might have gone a little too far in a few places.
Well, it's on the nose as ransom.
True, but no one ever looked at the fucking camera and went, ransom, and like put it. But here it's like, good is bad. So ridiculous. But yeah, like I said, because of the sort of political implications and sort of a turning on the head of these classic slasher tropes that they were very much embracing and celebrating, but sort of taking the kind of fucked up politics and implications of them and turning it on their head. I thought that was neat. I thought that was cool. A woke slasher, so to speak. So yeah, I really liked that revelation. And
it was good.
Yeah. And it
was good.
It was good. Bad was good. It made the third act really satisfying to me. And that's why I really enjoyed. And also so fucking ridiculous. Because when at the very end, when they kill the last good, so to speak, the good family line, and they sort of exit out of his home, and it's this super rich, nice home, and they're on the rich side, and they're like, did it work? And then just this rich dude that just like steps out of his car, and then a fucking truck fucking rams into him because their luck has run out or whatever. And they're like, oh, it worked. And I'm like, what the fuck? Very on the nose. Very silly. Maybe, again, might have gone a little too far for what the tone was of everything else.
Sure.
It got maybe a little too silly. But, yeah, I don't know.
Did it really hit him?
Yeah, didn't it? Yeah, it did.
Well, that guy's dead.
Yeah. It's such a weird way to go like, it worked. Yes, we did it.
Just a random person getting slammed by a truck.
This rich person got slammed with a fucking semi-truck. The day is saved. A little weird, I'll say. No, but I had a blast. I really liked that whole situation.
Yeah, I also like the design of some of these the monsters.
Yeah, they're really fun yet really unique, and you could tell they worked hard to make each one. They each had their own little story.
They have their names,
Their names, their characteristics. Really neat. And of course the kills. Again, we just don't get good slashers regularly anymore.
No.
And these are some good quality slashers. You get some very good kills.
Well, in the first one, you have the bread maker, right?
Oof, that one hurt me.
Didn't it?
Physically. Cause
I didn't think they would do it. I think they were going to save her at the last moment.
I did too.
They were playing it that way. It felt that way. And then, no, then it starts to cut her face.
In the most violent way. Oh my gosh. I was just like, this wasn't supposed to happen.
No.
I will say that kind of rubbed me a little the wrong way. Because her friends, again, the main character's friends die violently.
They do, yeah.
And
doesn't the other one get a machete to his head?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're a little bit like over it. Once
they get over it pretty quickly.
A little too quickly for my taste. I will say that. I think they should have been a little bit more depressed about it. So yeah, these are kind of my negatives that I'm throwing out. I'm sprinkling through when we're talking about this. But yeah, no, if the second one too, the second one's fucking brutal.
God, some of the, I mean, whew. I'm thinking of one of the ones that was kind of, I shouldn't be laughing at it, but one of the guidance counselors, they're in the bathroom. And they're trying to get who are they trying to get out?
The
two of the
sister.
girls. Yeah, the sister and the friend out of the tunnel underground. Her little sister, I think it's his little sister?
Yeah.
Or someone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the guidance counselor, one of the guidance counselors with the longer hair. They're trying to get them out, like, through the toilet and everything, because it's underneath the bathroom and underneath the toilet. And then, I believe I don't know what the name of the killer was in that installment, but he kind of just goes through and, cuts off almost instantly the guidance counselor gets decapitated and then just falls through the toilet and then lands on the girls underneath, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, this shit's fucking relentless.
Like, they are not afraid to kill kids and kill kids violently.
But that wasn't even though that was the guidance counselor, that was a teenager. The kids,
they just pop in like young kids and just be like, you're dead.
They cut them to pieces.
Yeah.
And some of them, you can tell they're bad because they don't even show you how bad they must have been. And a lot of them felt, I don't know, like, strangely targeted because, like, when you go back and you realize what were the ones that got killed, it was the overweight, nerdy kid.
Oh,
with the
yeah.
glasses.
It's like, damn.
It was the little black girl and the Asian kid. It felt, I don't know, kind of weird when you notice that it was the diverse people that were getting mutilated. Even in the middle of the movie, one of the guidance, no, two of the guidance counselors are having sex, and the guy just like he's finished, and then he walks off. I guess he went to the bathroom or something, and then while he's in the toilet, like the killer comes in and kills the girl, just like 1-2, and then the guy just like walks away.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
But again, speaking to because she was a shady sider, right?
Yeah.
And he was a sunny side, I guess, is they're called. And I think those
Sunny Side's Toy Story 3.
Are you sure they weren't called Sunnyside?
Well, they could, maybe, I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a while already. I wish I could have talked about this at the moment, but
yeah, then you had to get so busy. Yeah, it's I think those kills do kind of telegraph the reality of the situation as far as who's doing it, the reveals and all that. Why the deaths are only going in one particular way. Always shady side, the curse.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are great Halloween films, I think.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
If you need something to watch, go watch this. All right. I think we're done.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all for listening so much. And you know what? If you want to hear us talk more about horror movies, well, we got this show called To the Table. I know, our sister podcast where we talk about any movie we want to, really. One that I haven't seen and Peter has. He's the curator, obviously, of all of these. But we have a horror theme for these 2 months. We just talked about the 1992 Candyman, as well as They Live and Society from the year 1989. And we've got more coming for you just in time for October. And don't worry, we got a lot of stuff to review next month. I don't know how the fuck we're all going to fit it in. We've got Midnight Mass, we've got Soho, we've got Halloween Kills, we've got Dune, and also James Bond.
And
so
Dune.
How... I mentioned that.
I know, but
also
it's
Dune.
so nice, needs
Dune
to be
again.
mentioned twice.
Absolutely. So all of that and more, catch our podcast every single Sunday. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, stay under the spotlight, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.